You're passionate about your local community and have joined the Neighbourhood House Board, where ideas and enthusiasm are welcomed, but there's also some serious stuff to get your head around.
It takes probably 3 months to a good year to feel like you know exactly what's going on, and I think that's really important to say, that you're never going to walk to the table and know it all, because even if you've been on other committees or boards, this one's different and the team dynamics will be different. And the things that the organisation's trying to do and what it wants to have people talk about around the committee table is different. My very first ever board meeting, I remember turning up and, I'm clearly not shy, but I sat back not knowing when do I talk.
My first experience with the board was I was roped in to do because they had to have a vote on one of the positions, and I was roped in to do the counting.
The first board I was part of was CPS Credit Union, which was a group of middle-aged men and 2 younger women, myself included. To their credit, they were diversifying and inviting a broader range of people into the board, which was great.
Neighbourhood House boards must always make sure they're working for their main purpose, community development. There's a lot to consider and, at times, homework to complete.
In the first board meetings I went to, one of the things that stood out was simply the amount of information that you need to be across.
It was an experience you learnt quickly what it was all about.
A good board meeting's where everybody who comes to the table has done some preparation, so they've been sent out their papers early enough, so that includes the agenda and minutes of the last meeting and all of the things they're going to be considering, and they have time to read it, consider it, come prepared to have a conversation and discussion, and often make some really quite important decisions about it. So that's the premise of it. The other thing is that whoever's chairing the meeting is a really good leader, and so that they make sure they get the very best out of everybody that they can. So i.e., some people are a bit more shy and will sit back, and others can take up a bit of space, and so they've got to sort of be, excuse the sporting analogy, but the captain of the team, and really make sure everyone's working well for the good of the organisation and the community that they're working for.
Neighbourhood House boards must always consider the big picture. This means having a mission statement and strategic plan, as well as policies and procedures to guide your house. There are legal obligations and the Constitution to follow, as well as funding commitments and KPIs to meet. The board hires the manager, who in turn runs the day-to-day operations.
The formal part of it is I'm secretary, so in the sense I have an agenda for the board meeting, and which we stick to pretty religiously in the way it's run.
One of the things I'd suggest to people starting out and considering joining a board, or perhaps you're new to a board, is to spend some time on the learning about the organisation, learning about how it operates, and that means simply talking to the existing board members, particularly to the president or the chair.
These structures are serious for a reason.
In Tasmania, we have a piece of legislation that says this is how we form an incorporated association. And so, and from that, you'll either have something called the rules, the model rules, or sometimes it's called a rules of association or constitution. And really it sets out in there how you do the business, who can be on the committee, how long they're there for, how you manage your finances, and how you represent the community. Structure is really important, particularly in incorporated associations, because people are in receipt of grants or money. And so it provides the grant giver or the government, wherever that might be, a level of confidence that the organisation will do what's really the right and proper thing with the money and for the community. So it's important that the community can also see that those structures are in place that keeps everybody honest, also provides some level of safety for the people who put their hand up and go, I'll be on this committee, knowing there's some insurance if things all do go to custard. It's your legal responsibility as well as just, being a part of it. Part of a community that's saying, I'm going to step up and I'm going to help do some really great stuff in this community through our neighbourhood house. It's a team environment where people are going to be open, everyone has an opportunity to be heard and to talk, and that people have come in ready to discuss it, make a decision, and then the coordinator at the end of the meeting says, all right, the board have actually assisted with the decisions and now we have a very clear pathway forward. So you walk out pretty happy that you've given up a couple of hours of your day.
Can you think of a single sentence that summarises your house and the mission it set itself in your local community?